I picked an online niche instead of a local business to sell AI to, and in the last 2 weeks, I was able to make $8,000 in revenue from this new AI agency. Let me go ahead and show you guys exactly why I picked an online niche compared to a local business like real estate agents or HVAC. What I'm going to be doing today is just showing you guys why I think online or e-commerce type businesses is the best to do an AI agency for and help those people out instead of brick and mortar local business. Obviously, I know there's people killing it in both, but I'm going to tell you guys why I think the right option online businesses is better. So obviously I want to get into brick and mortar. This is going to be stuff like your real estate agents, roofers, HVAC clinics, right? I know brick and mortar just means like, physical store, but I'm talking about like local area zip code. So they work in a local area. They don't sell things nationwide. They don't ship something to your door, or they don't, sell you an info product. So this is stuff that you're going to be limited to when you fulfill to a certain zip code or a couple zip codes at most. So that's the main thing I see here, and obviously higher competition when it comes to actually targeting these people, because there's a lot of agencies targeting these types of clinics, HVAC, roofers, realtors. The online business space, for example, telemarket health, TRT for men, weight loss programs, all this type of stuff is very popular now. It's starting to become very popular. And as you guys can see on Instagram and all these other social media platforms, there's people who sell these courses. I think there's hundreds of thousands of people who sell these courses and would be willing to pay a pretty penny to get, good leads and actual booked appointments for people wanting to buy their possible program or course, right? So that's where I'm talking about. This is international, or at least the whole USA. So there's people across all states wanting to buy this. So when you fulfill for these people, the main difference is compared to a real estate agent where you're only targeting a certain zip code or a certain city. With this, you're targeting every single state, every city, fat people all across the country, okay? Virtual booking, right? This is also same thing, financial, CFO, people trying to, do bookkeeping and stuff like that. You can do it for bookkeepers. This is just something I threw in there. I've seen people do it. I don't have too much experience in it, so it's kind of like for me. Tax relief and tax advisory. This is a really good one. It's also, you can charge a lot of money for it. If you get a call from an AI caller about your taxes or about tax relief, you're more likely going to hang up, because it's not, it has that kind of like bad reputation of being scammy calls. So that's why I'm kind of avoiding this one. But maybe if AI gets really, really good in the future, I might look into it. Or you can just do kind of like, SMMA only ads and, give them the leads without having an AI caller. You can do that as well. Obviously, and the very popular one is going to be your cybersecurity, or you can do it for other agencies, right? I know agencies who help other agencies get leads. So cybersecurity is a big one as well. I think that one can actually be a really good option. But, you can do a bunch of different things. Even you can do TRT clinics or med spas that are more, shipping products throughout the country. Even if you do normal med spas, which compared to all these, you can charge a lot more. A med spa clinic charges, I think, anywhere from $500 to $3,000 per client, depending on what they're getting. And for them to drop 10K on AI, agency service that's going to get them 10 booked appointments in the next, 30 to 90 days or something, they're going to see money signs. So that's why out of all these, I prefer the clinics when it actually comes to these business types. And you can, there's clinics that, like I said, ship state by state, and you can hit states at least. So that's where it goes really when it comes to this. I'm going to get into pros and cons of each and get into the kind of nitty gritty of everything. So let's start with the online business. And really the best thing here is access to audience. So what this means is, where is everybody, right? There's pros and cons to this. So obviously cons, there's not going to be as many people, as many, like, for example, how can I say this? There's not going to be as many people doing telemarketing health or TRT weight loss compared to real estate agents. There's millions of real estate agents across the country. There's probably only a few 100,000 people selling those types of courses or weight loss programs or TRT. But where the pro comes in is obviously it's more scalable, and you can reach a lot more people, like I said, once you go to fulfill. It's multi-state, or you can go throughout the whole USA when it comes to actually doing it, and it's faster retargeting cycles, and you can actually provide a bunch of good quality leads for these people. So that's going to make it a lot easier for them to refer your business. So obviously, and it comes to chokeholds with this stuff, if you're doing clinics, if you're doing anything like TRT or weight loss, you have to be very careful. It's very difficult to actually fulfill and get, the right ad approved, because you're doing weight loss claims. It's very difficult to actually get those ads approved. If you can figure out a way of doing it, it's obviously good, but it might take you a little longer in the whole, still getting everything from above. It might take you a little longer. So that's a kind of cons to it. Offer, when it comes to offer and what you can do, really, it's going to become a little bit more vague on some of these. So for example, if you charge or if your offers get for a real estate agent get 10 listing appointments in 90 days, they can see easy money signs. They know if they get on 10 listing appointments, they're going to be able to, close at least 2 or 3 if they're mediocre. And they're going to go ahead and see, 20, 30, $40,000 there. With this, it might be a little bit more vague. You might have to structure your offer a little bit differently. With HVAC and roofing and solar, it's the same thing. You can easily do something like 10 qualified appointments in 90 days and they see a lot of return on it. With this, you might need to structure a little bit more clear and sub niche. So you're going to have to go ahead and actually go in there and see, okay, well, how much does a TRT treatment cost? How much would I need to structure my offer around and all that stuff. So it might take you a little bit longer, but I'm telling you guys right now, it's worth it. If you're stuck in the place where you know all these home-based businesses, local businesses that are very easy at everybody's doing. If you know a lot of information on them, it might be worth just doing your first niche there and then expanding into one of these, at least becoming profitable. And just make sure you can actually fulfill for them. Like real estate agents is really difficult. It's easy at first to get in through the door and get on sales calls and even collect money like I did. But at the end of the day, real estate is something that, people do once or twice a year, or in their lifetime. Like they might sell or buy a house once or twice in their lifetime. So it takes a lot longer and you're working in specific zip codes. So my problem was that I didn't clearly explain to my customers, the whole, like it might take a little bit longer than just, 30 days for them to get their money. So what would happen is people would pay me and then, in 30 days they would see a couple results, but not all they wanted, and they wouldn't pay me the rest of it. So obviously with this, like I've been doing now fulfillment for our online business. Like we do online now. So it's like the whole country or at least many states. And we're already seeing results for our customers and they're actually already getting, booked appointments through the AI caller. So it's working because they're hitting triple or even 4 times more the amount of people because it's the whole country or at least a few states. Obviously, when it comes to your offer, it'll be clear and concise promise and actual, showing proof that it works. So it's going to be faster sales cycle. So because you might be selling something like a, course, I get, five booked appointments for your weight loss program in the next X amount of days, something like that, right? And give it too much thought, but you can really give it thought. And then from there, it's going to actually make sense, right? So, and you're also going to have fewer churn and refunds because you're going to be working with clinics or online businesses that actually are complete business to business. With real estate, for example, I would get on a lot of calls with agents that are just broke and have a part-time job and trying to make it work. So it's not really business to business. It's like their side gig. Obviously, this is where I prefer business to business. I have, not too much experience when it comes to the new stuff that we're doing, but at the end of the day, it's actually going to be a lot better and it's a higher learning curve. But at the end of the day, you're going to be making more money and you have more scalability and fewer churn because it's actually like full on businesses, right? So if you're doing med spas or if you're doing an online TRT clinic that ships, hormones for men across the whole country, they're an actual business. So they have actual money set aside and things like that. And they're not going to be getting on calls saying I have no money. At least some will, but it's a lot less than, real estates or a very small HVAC guy that's doing his own thing. And obviously when it comes to fulfillment, I already hit on this a lot, so I'm not going to be doing too much, but the cons for fulfillment on these types of businesses like med spas or clinics or any type of online health program, obviously, like I said, it's a lot of compliance, right? A lot more opt-ins. You have to be very careful with what you say on your ads, and there's a lot of, HIPAA compliance and stuff. You have to go through all this stuff. So it's a lot more. But in the long run, like I said, it's worth it. Obviously, if you do really good, because these people are in business with other businesses, they're going to refer you and you're going to get a lot of returning customers, and you can charge a lot more on your fulfillment side. So you can charge, instead of $1,000 a month after, you can charge $2,000 or $3,000 if it goes very well. So obviously, that's what I like about this side of the business. Let's get into real quick. You guys already know everything, pretty much how this works. When it comes to these businesses, the clinics, roofers, realtors, HVAC, or at least some clinics, not all of them, I'm talking about like dental clinics. So obviously they're all over the US. There's millions and millions of, HVAC companies, dental clinics, roofers, realtors, millions. There's a lot more. It's probably more than 10 to 1 compared to online businesses or smaller sub niche. But at the end of the day, you guys make your pick, right? I recommend, you look and evaluate what you know and what you feel comfortable with. So usually these are in every city. A lot more business owners are high intent, fast feedback. They're going to search and you're probably going to fill your calendar a lot more because there's so many more people doing this stuff. So obviously it's simple offers as well. You can do the normal 90-day 10 listing appointments or something like that. Very easy. There's not much you have to do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already proven. Access to audience, again, same thing really. The show rate with this, the only thing I will say show rate is it, because these people are more or less small business owners, they're going to be doing a show rate a lot less. So for example, our show rate now is very good. It's a lot higher than it was on the real estate one. For example, on the real estate side, when I was doing it, it was out of 10 people I had booked, maybe 2 or 3 would show up. Now it's out of 10, maybe 7 or 8 show up. So it's really good for business owners because they actually show up. When it comes to small business owners, they might forget, they have a lot of stuff going on. Show rate goes down. So that's pretty much it. Obviously, offer, like I said, it's very easy to set up a retainer offer with these guys. You can do $1,000 a month. It's not going to, cost you all that much to, keep them. But like I said, when it comes to fulfillment side, it becomes a little bit more complicated because you're doing local. If you can find the right winning ads and everything like that, then that's really good. Obviously, it might need to be a lower offer. So for example, real estate agents, a house costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's hard to get approved. It's hard to actually get a listing agreement signed and all that stuff. Maybe something smaller like car detailers, right? Car detailers and ceramic coatings and all this type of stuff. These people, they charge $200 for a cleaning of a car, or maybe up to $1,000 for a ceramic coating on an expensive car or something, right? So when it comes to stuff like that, what I'm saying is it's going to become a lot easier for you to fulfill for these people because they're not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a house. They're not spending $30,000 on a roof. They're spending $200 to clean their car or $1,000 to get a ceramic coating on a Corvette, right? Whatever. So when it comes to actually scheduling, like making your offer, might be a lot easier, and you might get a lot more clients up front at first. Obviously, fulfillment side, I would pick something that is easy for fulfillment. So like I said, real estate is hard in my opinion to fulfill. The expectations with real estate agents, they expect everything right away. They're very hesitant with their money, and they're very needy in a way, right? And I was a real estate agent, okay? So I'm talking from experience. You're going to see higher churn, and you may need to lower your offer at first, and that's okay. Clients have less money and more overhead as well, so compared to online businesses. So that's really it, guys. Like I said, if you're getting into one of these when it comes to local businesses, like try something that's not going to be high ticket. When it comes to selling roofers or real estate agents, it becomes very difficult because fulfillment side, unless you do it right and you tell them from the beginning. My mistake, right, that I made was not telling them, hey, look, people are going to be paying you XYZ amount of money. This might take a little bit more in just 30 days. I was making it seem like a pipe dream, and that's my mistake. Now, obviously, you live and you learn. So if you guys are getting into this, definitely do it. But like I said, look into something like, it doesn't cost all that money. HVAC repairs aren't, $30,000 or $200,000 for a house, or a lot less. They're maybe $1,000, $2,000, depending on what it is, or less than that. Same for car detailing and, ceramic coatings. They're going to be getting a lot more leads. So when you fulfill, they're going to be getting leads and seeing traction. So that's pretty much what I have for this, guys. Hopefully this clears up, any type of doubts you may have when it comes to picking your niche, or maybe you're, struggling in yours. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I put my Discord and Instagram in the description like I always do. You can go ahead and reach out to me and connect with me anytime. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.